What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all really helps out our channel. Now, yesterday over on YouTube, we had some new members. We had Poppy Lily, Angela Avery, Rich Cooper, Stephen Davis with the upgrade, and Desolate Storm with a return. So thank you so much for your support. And on Patreon we had Marley Nia. Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how much of a difference it makes. I honestly just can't express it because it really does mean so much. And for each of you for coming here and taking the times out of your day to be here, and get involved with the channel, and get with the comments on Discord, everything. You are literally changing things. You're amazing. So thank you so much for doing what you do. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from Round Tomatillo. Am I the arsehole for celebrating my anniversary despite what happened at my wedding? Now, just a bit of a trigger warning on this story that it involves a child losing their life, so I just want to throw that pre-warning out there. Feel free to skip if you think it might, trigger you in this way. So, my husband and I had our wedding last year. The venue was beautiful and bordered a lake. Unfortunately, during the reception, one of the young children snuck away from their parents and decided to go for a swim, despite not being able to. This was tragic and devastating and obviously cut the day short. We haven't really spoken to the parents since then, as we weren't close to them aside from seeing them on holidays, which haven't happened this year. We are still Facebook friends though. When our first anniversary came, I made a post celebrating our anniversary with a few wedding photos. I didn't think anything of it, until the comments came flooding in. I woke up to 30 comments and 15 missed calls. The top comment was from the mother of the child, who was outraged about it. She wrote a very long comment about how my post was disrespectful of the tragedy that had happened that day, and how dare I post and not mention her child, and of course talking to her first. 30 comments later, and it was clear that the entire family had clearly started to take sides in the battle I didn't realise I created. As of today, we're at 150 comments. My friends and my parents were involved too. Half of his family is screaming for me to take it down, apologise to the parents, and show more respect, possibly by even celebrating our anniversary on a different day. Some of the family thinks that we should be able to still celebrate our anniversary on the actual day, but just keep it offline to keep peace. I don't think I did anything wrong with my post, and I feel like we should be allowed to celebrate our anniversary just like anyone else. I'm not celebrating the tragedy, I'm celebrating my wedding. Am I the arsehole? Edit. I've changed the post to only be visible to me and deleted all comments to try and stop the arguing, but from the email we just received, those comments were just a symptom of a larger problem. My mother-in-law sent us an email with, from what I can tell, roughly 3/4 of my husband's family CC'd on it. His parents, grandparents, and the parents of the child are not only in the different day camp, but they are also demanding a second wedding. According to them, they've kept their silence for so long due to the shock and distracted by everything else going on this year, but they feel that because of what happened, we aren't really married yet in the family. They understand that weddings are expensive, so they, husband's parents, offer to completely pay for this second wedding that will be the real wedding in his family's eyes. And because it may be a year or two before this can be done safely, they will tolerate us living in sin indefinitely due to the circumstances. My husband hates arguing with his family, and I'm not sure how I'd even approach this with my family without being laughed out of the room. So now we need to talk about what to do with this. Now let's just say you're not an arsehole for celebrating, your marriage and celebrating the love between you two. That's an absolute fine thing to do. But in my eyes, where you cross a line, as soon as you put that post up, social media is about sharing things with family and friends who were all at this wedding, all knew what happened. So of course, this is going to trigger memories for everyone of that day, especially if you're putting wedding photos up. If I got married and that happened on my wedding day or whatever, and I don't think I'd be able to look at those photos again. I think that would just, kill any memory I want of that day. I know it's a special day for that person, but I think personally I'd feel that way. I can't see myself looking back on a day when that happened to a child at my day. Wow, that's incredibly hard, and just feel so sorry for that person. And man, Just take down the goddamn post. Why? I don't understand why you would even think that was such a good idea to do. Why would it cross your mind that's a good idea? If it was a mistake, sure, take it down immediately. But then to leave it up and let people argue up to 150 comments, I mean, come on, man. Oh dear. And our first post comes from Superfast Mama. Everyone sucks here, but for crying out loud, take the post down. On one hand is a family with a dead child facing the 1-year anniversary of their loss. Unimaginable pain. On the other hand is your need to have people comment on how pretty your wedding was and tell you happy anniversary. Their pain far outweighs your need for likes. Why didn't you block the family of the dead child from your post is beyond my ability to comprehend. As soon as you saw it was causing pain, you delete the post. Of course you can celebrate your anniversary all you want, just not visible to these people who have a dead child. Show compassion. CD Phil says you're the arsehole, something awful happened at your wedding. It wasn't your fault, but it's something you have to deal with. I'm very sorry that you will never be able to have a normal anniversary, but that's a small burden compared to having to deal with the loss of a child. Those that say you should just celebrate privately are absolutely correct. Do not put anything celebratory where the grieving parents can see it. People have been celebrating anniversaries for centuries before Facebook existed. You'll survive without making public announcements of your love for your friends to see. Acceptable Letter 331 says, you became the arsehole the moment all hell broke loose on your post and you didn't have the decency to delete it completely. And Raging Red Blue says, you're the arsehole. You're not the arsehole for celebrating your marriage. You're an arsehole for celebrating your wedding. You just posted photos of an event where a child drowned and you can't fathom how insensitive that is. Or that the event is horrible memory for everyone else. In quotes, we haven't really spoken to the parents since then. And we weren't close to them aside from seeing them on holidays, which haven't happened this year. So you just shrugged your shoulders and moved on, and can't figure out why the child's parents have not, and you haven't even talked with them since. I really hope you do not have children, because you seem to lack normal human empathy. And Bitter Irony 1891 says, after seeing the edit, wow, everyone, even peripherally attached to the situation, is determined to be the biggest arsehole they possibly can be about it, huh? I thought you were heartless and inconsiderate to have made the Facebook post, but that email suggests you are one of the less arseholish people in your social circle. Living in sin. They can sit on a cactus. I don't mean to sound flippant, but clearly none of the people present at your wedding have processed the tragedy they have witnessed, directly or indirectly, in a healthy way. You'll need therapy. Less processing with each other, since it looks like the whole family are drama queens who reinforce each other's bad ideas, and more processing with trained professionals. I'm sorry your wedding was ruined. I'm sorry for the family who lost their kid. I'm sorry for everyone who was present for and impacted by such an upsetting event. I'm sorry your in-laws are making a shitty situation shittier. What a sad mess. Absolutely indeed, an absolutely tragic, awful mess. I can't imagine what that family would be going through, and then to see that on Facebook too. Oh my word. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Snowballs and Carrots. Am I the arsehole for telling my friend what did she expect when she got pregnant? Sorry on mobile, I, 18 female, went to high school with this girl, S, 18 female, and we're both currently in college together. For a little background on S, she was obsessed and determined to lose her V-card before 18, which didn't happen, but she got close to some guy when she met online. Months later, she starts talking to this guy at her work, M, 28 male, who pays a bit too much attention to her. At first she claimed it was just a friendly thing, but we all kinda told her it's unlikely a 28-year-old wants to be friends with an 18-year-old. S was not popular in high school and didn't date, not her choice, but neither did any in our friend group. So they started going to the gym together, and one day they did it at a park. Then she started doing it again with him in the privacy of his home. Turns out he's engaged. We don't know the girl's name, but he straight up told her that he's engaged and won't leave his fiancée. She continued anyway and sort of hoped he would. We all met up to celebrate finishing the first semester. My town is doing great with COVID, and it was only 4 of us, and one of us brought beer, legal here. She starts drinking. After one beer she reveals to us she's pregnant. Our other friend says, should you be drinking? And S said, doesn't matter, I'm not keeping it. S has always said she never wanted kids. She told us M hates condoms and wouldn't use them. One of us asks if she was on the pill. Our school was good at teaching sex ed, contraceptives. She says no, that she didn't think it'd happen. This is where I may be the arsehole, because I say, what do you think that was going to happen? She got all mad at me and said I wasn't supporting her and berated me for my comment. After she was done, I told her she could stay with me. I'd drive her to the clinic so her mum wouldn't find out, which she was super adamant about. I'm trying not to be super judgmental, especially in the moment, because I see her as someone who got taken advantage of. We did warn her about him, and while you may think she learned a lesson, she didn't. She starts talking about seeing him again, mostly for money for the appointment, and seeing where it goes. Am I the arsehole? Now, I'm probably going to get hate on my take for this one, simply because, she's right in what she said. What do you think's going to happen when, you have sex without protection? There's a chance of pregnancy, right? Absolutely. So, in that respect, you're not the arsehole, but is this what your friend really needed to hear right now? Is that something you should have been saying to them? Because it wasn't really helpful in the situation, was it? It didn't really help her out. It just put her on the spot and made her feel like shit when she's probably already really confused right now. And I know some of you guys are going to jump on me and say, she's 18, she's an adult now. But barely. When I was around that age, I didn't know what the hell was going on with my life, right? Life is very confusing around that age, and we need to remember that. And again, I probably will get bashed for this, but I don't care. This person is 28. They know what they was doing, and they were taking advantage of someone much younger than them. That person had a decade worth of experience more than this 18-year-old. Someone who's pretty much just starting their adult life, in my opinion. And again, I'm not excusing what she's doing, trying to get her to break up with this other person, because this guy's wife or girlfriend is another innocent party in this. And another shitty thing the guy is doing is refusing to wear protection in the first place and saying, no, I don't want to use it. Which again, STIs, all that sort of stuff, dangerous person right there. So I'm going to be really controversial and say everyone sucks here, just because I think everyone does suck here in this situation. The girl's got a lot of learning to do. The guy is a complete arsehole. And I don't think the girl needed to hear that at that particular time. And again, waffling on a bit more, just think, put yourself in that girl's shoes at that age. If you can remember yourself around that age and you find yourself in a relationship where the other person already has a partner, confusing in itself, you find yourself pregnant and then wanting to abort the baby. Imagine that. I couldn't imagine, well, obviously I can't imagine it, but a very, very confusing time. But Slithery Pringle says, I thought that was a valid question, so not the arsehole. Seriously though, at 18, you're too old to not take your sex life and well-being seriously. There could be other women involved, obviously aside from the fiancé, which increases the risk of contracting STIs. Excalibur ZSH says, not the arsehole, your friend needs a babysitter still. And Interesting Forever 2 says, sounds like the friend has a lot of maturing to do. She's with a guy who's knowingly engaged, who doesn't like to wear condoms when they have sex, so she is not even on the pill either, therefore she gets pregnant. Even if she gets an abortion and decides to go back to the poor excuse of a man, she's going to get pregnant again, and it's going to happen again. OP is a good friend for not just sitting back and trying to tell the friend some honest truth about her situation. Bravo is over saying, not the arsehole, technically you're right. What did she expect not protecting herself at all? But, although she may not be currently affected by what's happening, she may eventually be affected. Terminating a pregnancy has the potential to be a life-changing experience. Please be patient with her. She has a lot to process, the age difference, him potentially preying on her, fact that he doesn't want to protect her or himself, and the fact that he's engaged, or could, weigh on her. Also, please encourage her to get checked for STIs as well. Good luck. And Caden said, not the arsehole, what did you think was going to happen was perfectly fair question to ask there. And unless she gets the goddamn procedure, then all she's doing is making a baby with fetal alcohol syndrome. It sounds like despite how well your school did in teaching you, she must have missed those days in class. And QAB said, not the arsehole, what did she think was going to happen? She sounds way too immature and ignorant to be having sex with anyone. I hope she's more careful in the future, because if she's not, she's going to get a lot worse than pregnant. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of the situation, and how do you think it should be dealt with? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Black Forces Are Cool. Am I the arsehole for not forgiving my uncle for telling me I'm a product of an affair? I'm 19 male, a product of an affair. I just learned this story 2018 around Easter. My dad had an affair that resulted in him getting his mistress pregnant and having me. My mum relied on him financially and already had 3 kids, including a newborn by him, so she stayed. My dad started a co-parenting relationship and ended the affair with the other woman. When I was around 2, my biological mother ran off. We think to her home country, but we don't really know. I honestly couldn't care less and don't have any desire to find her. After my biological mum left, my mum was willing to take me into her house and raise me as her own son. I'm sure this must have been hard for her, as I've seen a picture of my bio mother and I'm a dead ringer for her and even have the masculine version of her name. As I said, I didn't know this, and I only found out because I got into a public fight with my mum at our family Easter's dinner when I was 16. I couldn't tell you what it was about, but I do know the next day I got a call from my mum's brother, who let me hear it about how ungrateful I was being to the woman who raised me after my real mum abandoned me. Of course I was confused and went to my parents, who told me everything. This news broke me for so long. I felt like a stranger in my house and like a monster to my mum. My older brothers both knew, but my older sister did not, and our entire extended family knew about me. I shouldn't have learned about it this way. This is why I've never forgiven my uncle for telling me in anger. Apparently he didn't know, I didn't know, so almost everyone in our family, except my siblings, think I should forgive him. I saw him again last weekend and I refused to accept his apology, which led to my cousins and aunt and dad pressuring me to just forgive him. I didn't and still haven't. Am I the arsehole? The way I came into this is that I can only see the uncle being an arsehole either way, because either you did know about this and he just said it to hurt you, which makes him an arsehole anyway, or you didn't know about it so he wanted to reveal it and hurt you, which again makes him an arsehole anyway. So you're not the arsehole in this situation. Simple as that in my opinion. But the mirror's truth says not the arsehole. I don't buy this not knowing. It sounds like this adult man was intentionally trying to inflict as much damage as he could on a 16-year-old kid. You're a teenager, of course you fought with your mum. What teen doesn't? You get over it and move on. You don't call to curse them out and lay life-altering news on them out of anger. You're right, this isn't how you should have found out. And Slithering Demigod says not the arsehole. Even if he didn't know you didn't know, he still has no good reason to hang that over your head. And BitTilly says, there are two ways you could read what your uncle did. Number one, he knew you were aware of your biological parentage and wanted to hurt you by revealing it in anger. Two, he genuinely thought you knew about your birth mother and thought it would hurt to remind you that you should be grateful because you have a mother that loves you despite you not being biologically hers. There is no scenario I can see where your uncle is not a raging asshole. Not the arsehole. You should have been told in a kinder way by your parents, and I'm sorry this is how you found out. I hope you're able to talk with your family honestly about how this is affecting you, and they don't push you to sweep this under the rug. If I may give you some advice, there's a huge difference between forgiving and forgetting, so while you may find yourself in a state of mind to forgive your uncle, it doesn't mean you're forgetting his cruelty. You don't need to set yourself in the position to be hurt by this arsehole. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of the situation? Who's the arsehole in the story? The uncle, the parents? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from Stop Using My Face, A-hole. Am I the arsehole for threatening my former boss with legal action? About 2 years ago, I was offered a new job by my former boss's main competitor. They were offering a substantial increase in pay, better benefits, and their offices less than 5 miles from my house instead of the 25 plus miles I was currently commuting. In short, it was too sweet a deal to pass up. The only problem was that my current contract had 4 months left on it. I'd approached my boss a handful of times in the previous months to set up a time to discuss extending my contract, but he kept putting off and told me we would work something out. I didn't like the idea of running out my contract with nothing lined up for when it expired, so with about 6 months left on my contract, I started looking for other options. After a couple of months of courtship, the competitor gave me a written offer. I approached my boss after getting the offer and told him that if he wouldn't at least meet with me about my contract, that I'd have to start looking for other options. He told me to wait another month because he wanted to get through the end of the calendar year to see where things stood. I told him that was his decision, but I'm going to need to make decisions for myself in the meantime. I didn't tell him that I already had an offer from our competitor, but I wanted him to know that I wasn't going to do this solely on his timeline. After the year ended, he came to me and offered to extend my contract under the same exact terms. No raise, no increase in benefits, the same as my previous contract. I told him I had an offer from another company and I would be accepting that offer. I told him I would work through the end of my current contract, but at that time I would be leaving. He got mad and said I should have told him sooner. I told him I gave him plenty of chances, but he kept blowing me off. He then said not to bother finishing my contract and that I was fired. So I contacted the competitor, told him what was going on, and said that I could start in 2 weeks. The legal issue comes from my former boss using my face on his company website to promote his business. I'm also featured in a promotional video on his website. Both the picture and video are literally on the site's front page. You can't miss it. The picture and video are still there even after me leaving 2 years ago. I asked my new company's legal team about it and they said I could probably sue him to get him to take it down if he didn't do it willingly. So I sent my former boss an email requesting that he take all of my likeliness off his company website as I no longer worked for him. He refused and responded with a few choice words regarding my character. I responded that he left me no choice but to take legal action and that I'd be hearing from my lawyer. I've never sued anyone before, but it's making me feel like kind of an arsehole, like I'm stooping to my former boss's level, but I don't want people in that industry to think I'm still associated with this company. Like you said in this story, you gave him plenty of chances. You told him multiple times, you know, can we look at my contract? And he, as you said, he kept passing it off. He kept not paying attention to it and, you know, helping you out. So this is all the consequences of his action. So this is all down to him in the end, in my opinion, of course. But Fly343 says, not the arsehole, you attempted to pursue every civil avenue at every interaction. You need to ensure the future security of your career. Securing your likeliness is part of that security. Unless there was a clause in your former contract stating they can use your likeliness in perpetuity, then you have a very solid case. Good luck and carry on, dude or dudette. And Throwaway Diplomat says, not the arsehole, in both of the situations you described, you approached your boss with a reasonable compromise and he blew you off, basically forcing your hand. You wanted to discuss your contract, he didn't, you made other plans. You requested that he stop using your likeliness in promotions, he refused and insulted you, so you went the legal route. He's had every opportunity to avoid both these problems, these situations present for him at every opportunity. He's chosen to dig his heels in and basically force you to deal with him in less than friendly terms. That's not on you, that's on him. Congratulations on your new job. And Turv56 says, not the arsehole, did you sign a modelling release? If so, I believe you gave permission and the company can use your image. If you signed no such release, they are using your image without permission, and you should be able to have a lawyer send them a letter to pull it off their marketing material. And Broad Elderberry says, not the arsehole, here's the big difference between you and your former boss. What he did was retaliation. He punished you because you wouldn't accept this shitty treatment. It was intended to cause you harm. What you're doing is consequence. He refused a reasonable request and now you have to seek alternative methods to have your reasonable request addressed. Your actions aren't intended to cause him harm. You're trying to protect yourself from further harm. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too. And don't forget, you are always appreciated here. I love seeing your comments. I love hearing what you're doing with your days. There's been absolutely loads of stuff going on the last couple of days on Twitter. People sending me your dogs and cat pictures, absolutely amazing. And people actually sending me your artwork whilst you've been listening to these stories as well. I love to see it. Someone sent me like a book that they're writing the other day, and it's got like this world map. And it's a massive world map and it's absolutely crazy. I really look forward to seeing that develop further as well. Keep up the fantastic work, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys. Goodbye.